We have one of the great educators of the state of Wisconsin joining us in a moment. A little bit of background. You probably know the Governor Evers was elected to office on November 6, 2018, one of those midterm gubernatorial elections. Prior to that, Governor Evers was Wisconsin State Superintendent of Public Instruction, winning statewide elections again in 2009, 2013, and 2017. He has over 30 years of public service, and Governor Evers has dedicated his life to fighting for Wisconsin kids and serving the people of Wisconsin. So with that, we'll bring Governor Evers to the screen.
Thanks for the introduction. It's great to be able to join you for the 8th Annual Summit on Regional Competitiveness. And I'm really grateful for the invitation, frankly. And I'm Tony Evers, and I'm the 46th governor of the state of Wisconsin. And as you all know, the economic and societal hardships highlighted by the COVID-19 pandemic, both in the Midwest region across the globe, frankly, those issues are undeniable. This past year and a half has asked a lot of us, and we've asked a lot of one another. Folks turned their kitchens and the classrooms, farmers and businesses adapted, but still face lots of workforce challenges. And so many have made personal sacrifices to ensure the health and safety of their neighbors, their loved ones, and their friends. Frankly, that grit and resilience, as was mentioned before, is just who we are as Midwesterners, and it's been extraordinary. At the same time, we've seen how the pandemic underscored the long existing inadequacies while creating or compounding others. And it's why in Wisconsin, we've much of the last year been talking about how our economic response could not and should not be about the mere recovery. It's setting out instead to just, to go back to the future and return to a pre-pandemic status quo, frankly, would be an insufficient and inadequate response to the crisis this pandemic created. So our economic response has been driven by rebounding and bouncing back from this pandemic better than we were before COVID-19 hit. This has meant we've worked to fix both long-standing challenges facing our state while also addressing the issues brought to bear these past 2 years. It's also about how something like I like to call connecting the dots, which is a fancy way of saying we have to see the bigger picture for economic development and how every issue, whether it's education or healthcare, transportation, housing, how all these things fit together and affect each other. From the beginning, our administration has worked closely with businesses and local leaders to help them find ways to keep their workers, their customers, their communities safe. Of course, among the most essential part of these efforts has been getting folks the COVID-19 vaccine. Wisconsin has been a national leader in getting available shots in arms, and Governor Thompson will be, I'm sure, talking about that too. And we're incredibly proud of that because from my vantage point, making sure people get vaccinated in our region and across the country is just about, not just about economic health, but it's about public health. These go hand in hand, and we can't have a healthy economy unless we have healthy people and healthy communities. In addition, a critical part of our state's response has been making really important decisions about our state's fiscal position while making strategic investments aimed at putting our workers, families, and Main Street businesses, and ultimately our state in the best position to bounce back. Now, Wisconsin's unemployment rate is nearly back to pre-pandemic levels and ranks among the lowest in the country, while our workforce participation rate continues to be among the best in the country. Exports from Wisconsin are up more than 18% over 2020 so far this year, and Wisconsin continues to see new businesses moving to our state and existing businesses expand. We've also made tough decisions and sacrifices in state government to find cost savings early on in the pandemic. I'm proud to say that we ended the fiscal year 2021 with a record $2.58 billion general fund balance, more than double fiscal year 2020. And recent revenue projections have been unprecedented. We've also worked to get relief and federal funds out the door quickly, really important. And to those who need support the most, while also investing in programs and projects, the benefits of which will transcend this pandemic. For example, with the first iteration of federal support, we put CARES funds to good use, helping more than 53,000 small businesses, 15,000 Wisconsin farmers, as well as folks that work in the travel, entertainment, lodging, and tourism industries, among other critical industries. We continued these investments through the American Rescue Plan Act funds, providing another $50 million for farmers and another $140 million for the tourism and travel industries. We've also continued to champion our small businesses through an investment up to $420 million to support as many as 84,000 additional small businesses. And we're on track to provide $50 million to encourage folks to move into vacant storefronts and to bring life back to our main streets. And it's been just that last spot. I visited small towns across the state that talking to those folks that are bringing life back to Main Street and to those vacant storefronts, and they're doing a great job. It is just such an honor for me to see that happen. We've also made a $75 million investment towards diverse businesses and chambers of commerce in support of our work to ensure our recovery is more resilient and more inclusive. Our economic rebounds and development are also about connecting the dots. Connecting the dots is investing in infrastructure and transportation, healthcare, job training, childcare, all the things that ensure folks can get back to work and employers can find the workers they need. It's also about investing in broadband so folks can learn and work from home, start to run businesses from anywhere and access telemedicine services from their farm or their town. It's about ensuring that every community, every zip code has the resources and tools to thrive and build strong, safe neighborhoods. We've been as strategic as we can with our investments to connect those dots so we're not just recovering, but building long-term sustainable economic success for years to come. I declared 2021 as the year of broadband access in Wisconsin. And on top of the $129 million we put towards broadband expansion in our budget, we also allocated another $100 million of our ARPA dollars to continue our work to ensure folks can get connected in every corner of our state. With these funds, we're helping more than 28,000 homes and 1,400 businesses that are currently underserved or unserved across 40 counties and 3 tribal communities get connected to high-speed broadband services. We're also investing $250 million in transformational capital projects in neighborhoods across our state, like housing projects, transit, childcare solutions, and increasing access to healthcare in our underserved communities. We're also putting $130 million towards the development of innovative workforce solutions aimed at addressing regional workforce challenges to help communities develop their own solutions, because we know there's no one-size-fits-all answer to the needs of businesses and communities. Overall, we're investing or have invested both more than $4.5 billion in pandemic relief in our economic response to connect the dots across industry and community. But no one can do it alone. Just as we are connecting the dots in Wisconsin, we need to connect the dots across our region, whether it's streamlining our supply chain networks or growing our regional industries, supporting innovation that will usher in the future of technology and manufacturing. The possibilities for our region are endless. So now is the time to build the sort of future we want for our states and for our region. So as the governor of the great state of Wisconsin, I eagerly look forward to how we can work together, support one another, just as we have these past 2 years, as we all work together to rebound and put this pandemic behind us together. So thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today.
Thank you very much, Governor. Appreciate your insight, and honestly, it's the perfect wrap up. Our first 3 days were on the topics you just described, and it's great to hear what you're doing in your own state in order to kind of bring us all through the end of the pandemic. So let's all keep our fingers crossed that we continue to see lowering numbers, increasing economic production, and that we have some resolutions to some of the current headwinds that we've got. Thank you very much for joining us, Governor. We appreciate your time.